Episode 29, titled Prepare the Control Summary Table, the focus is on transforming detailed narratives into a single, reliable snapshot that shows how controls actually stand. The Control Summary Table, often abbreviated as CST, is the central scoreboard of system compliance. It summarizes each control's status, ownership, inheritance, and supporting evidence so that reviewers can see progress at a glance and trace deeper when needed. A well-built table makes an audit or assessment smoother by providing a truthful, current state of every requirement without forcing anyone to read hundreds of pages of prose. The aim is clarity, not decoration, an accurate map of control implementation and accountability. The CST must clearly show control status, implementation notes, and inheritance relationships so that anyone scanning the table can distinguish fully implemented controls from partial or planned ones. Each line of the table tells a small story: the control's unique identifier, its implementation posture, and any notes describing dependencies or conditions. Status should be factual and specific: implemented, partially implemented, planned, or not applicable, with corresponding explanations that connect to tangible artifacts. Inheritance indicators should name the provider system or service that covers the requirement, along with a pointer to the relevant shared responsibility statement. When these attributes are maintained consistently, the CST becomes a living summary rather than a bureaucratic afterthought. The table's content should be pulled directly from System Security Plan, SSP, parameter registers, and interconnection descriptions rather than created in isolation. Each control entry should echo the same terminology and intent found in the SSP, so there is no disconnect between narrative and summary. Parameters give measurable detail, such as session timeout durations or review intervals, while interconnections clarify whether external partners or shared services contribute to implementation. Pulling data from these existing sources ensures that the CST reflects the authoritative record and stays synchronized with updates. Automation can help, but even a disciplined manual extract ensures alignment and reduces inconsistencies. Each control line must include key identifiers and context fields that make it traceable. Typical entries capture the control identifier, short title, responsible party, implementation description, evidence reference, assessment results if available, and any open risks or planned remediations. Including the responsible party moves the conversation from abstract compliance to named accountability. Implementation notes describe what has been done, not what is intended, while test results confirm that the control behaves as claimed. Risk annotations explain the consequence of any gap and link to tickets or plans that address it. The value of the table comes from this completeness. When every field is filled, you can reconstruct both the control's condition and its oversight chain. Marking inherited or shared controls explicitly prevents double counting and confusion. If a requirement is satisfied by a service provider, such as a cloud platform managing physical security or a shared network boundary, the CST should identify the source system and reference the contract, authorization package, or attestation letter supporting that inheritance. Shared controls, where implementation responsibilities are split, should outline each party's duties and evidence paths. The table's references should point to stored artifacts, such as screenshots, reports, or configuration exports that verify the claim. By naming who does what and where proof resides, inheritance moves from a vague promise to a verified relationship. Assessment methods deserve their own column or annotation because they show how each control will be validated. Common terms include examine, interview, and test. Examine applies when reviewing documents, configurations, or records. Interview involves questioning personnel to verify understanding and routine, and test means performing or observing the control in operation. Listing the planned assessment method sets expectations for both assessors and control owners and ensures coverage across the entire control set. For partial or planned implementations, note which methods will confirm closure after remediation. This foresight prevents surprises when the assessor later asks for evidence and finds the wrong proof type. A common watch-out arises when status words appear without proof or owner accountability. Entries labeled implemented but lacking evidence, references, or assigned owners signal weak documentation or, worse, wishful thinking. Every implemented control must have at least one traceable artifact showing when and how implementation was verified. Similarly, ownership should never default to security team or operations group as a collective placeholder. Each must resolve to an individual or named role with authority to maintain or remediate the control. Auditors can quickly test credibility by sampling a few green entries and asking for proof. When the table and the evidence match, trust grows. When they do not, rework multiplies. A low-effort but high-impact improvement is to standardize status flags that convey blockers, dependencies, and risk categories. For instance, implemented with exception, pending third-party validation, or blocked awaiting policy approval communicates nuance better than a simple color code. These standardized flags make roll-up reporting more accurate because they distinguish operational gaps from paperwork delays. They also help managers allocate attention efficiently by highlighting which issues require technical fixes versus governance decisions. A short legend within the CST or its supporting documentation ensures everyone reads the statuses the same way. Consistency between the CST and the System Security Plan SSP text and parameter register is non-negotiable. Each control title, identifier, and key phrase should match across documents so readers can jump seamlessly from table to narrative. Parameters referenced in the table should be the same values used in policy and configuration, not estimates. When SSP updates occur, a controlled process should push those changes into the table promptly, with version tracking to show when the sync happened. This alignment reinforces that the CST is not a separate artifact but a condensed view of the SSP's living truth. A realistic scenario helps the process take shape. Imagine marking a control as partially implemented because role-based access reviews are not yet automated. The CST entry would state, partially implemented, manual quarterly reviews in place, automation tool deployment planned Q3. The risk column would note residual exposure due to human error, and the remediation milestone would include the ticket or project reference. The assessment method column would show examine and test after automation deployment. This level of detail turns a static row into an action plan that leadership and assessors can understand instantly. Every control entry should link to artifact locations and change history entries for traceability. Artifact links might point to document repositories, configuration management databases, ticket systems, or evidence packs stored within the authorization boundary. Change history should record when statuses or ownership shifted, who made the change, and why. This audit trail makes the CST defensible months later when reviewers ask what changed since the last authorization. It also helps program managers detect churn and recurring bottlenecks across control families. When updates are dated and explained, the table earns its role as a system of record rather than an editable spreadsheet. A mini-review before circulation keeps integrity high. The checklist is simple but revealing. Are all statuses true, recent, and traceable? True means evidence exists and ownership is valid. Recent means updates reflect the current operating state. And traceable means a reviewer can follow each claim to its proof without manual hunting. If any of these fail, the table needs another pass before sign-off. Periodic mini-reviews, monthly or quarterly, prevent drift and prepare the program for formal assessments without panic. When review cadence becomes routine, the table's accuracy becomes self-reinforcing. A compact memory anchor captures the philosophy. Summarize clearly, prove quickly, update continuously. Summarize clearly so that anyone, from system owner to auditor, can read the status without translation. Prove quickly by pointing each claim to tangible evidence. Update continuously so that the table mirrors reality, not last quarter's aspirations. This trio keeps the CST both credible and useful across the life cycle of authorization and operation. To finish, the control summary table stands ready when every control is represented, ownership is defined, evidence is referenced, and assessment methods are declared. The next action is procedural but powerful. Circulate the completed table for peer review among system owners, security officers, and assessors. Capture comments and log resulting changes. Once endorsed, the table becomes the authoritative snapshot of control posture, ready to support audits, reporting, and continuous monitoring. When kept accurate, the CST transforms compliance from a periodic scramble into an ongoing, traceable practice that proves what the system actually does. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.